Lil Durk and his legal team are making a major push to get his recent superseding indictment thrown out. Yesterday, they filed a formal motion to dismiss the indictment, arguing that the prosecution used misleading and inaccurate evidence when presenting their case to the grand jury. At the center of the controversy is a song called Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, a track by Babyface Ray that features Lil Durk. According to the defense, the government used an altered version of the song to convince the grand jury to indict Durk. The altered version allegedly included a clip of Quando Rondo screaming, "No," audio taken from a news clip after his cousin Lil Pab, Salva Robinson, was shot in Los Angeles. The government reportedly used this version to suggest that Durk was celebrating and profiting off of a revenge killing through his music. However, Durk's team, including the song's producer and the studio owner, are claiming that the version presented to the grand jury was not official, but rather a fan edit. They argue that Lil Durk had no involvement in adding that clip and that the government's use of it tainted the evidence. Motion to dismiss. In the official motion titled Motion to Dismiss Superseding Indictment Based on False or Misleading Grand Jury Evidence, Durk's legal team lays out the following. The prosecution misrepresented lyrics in the song to argue that Durk celebrated the murder of Lil Pab. However, the verse in question was recorded 7 months before the shooting took place, making it chronologically impossible for the lyrics to reference that event. They argue that unless the government is accusing Durk of being psychic, the lyrics could not have referred to that incident. The motion requests either a dismissal of the superseding indictment or, at the very least, full disclosure of the grand jury evidence and the arguments presented during the hearing. Background and timeline. Durk, a Grammy-winning artist with a successful career since 2012, featured on Babyface Ray's track Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy at Ray's request. According to the producer Justin Gibson, Durk recorded his verse. On January 25, 2022, Gibson finalized and uploaded the track that same day. The shooting involving Lil Pab didn't occur until August 19, 2022, which means Durk's lyrics could not have been a response to the incident. In addition, the CEO of Your World Music, Ahmed Sharif, who finalized the track, confirmed that the final version did not contain the "No" audio. The clips provided by the prosecution came from fan-edited YouTube videos, not official releases. These edits were fabricated and inauthentic, created for social media. The key point: the motion stresses that the entire foundation of the superseding indictment relies on a false narrative that Durk recorded lyrics celebrating a murder that hadn't yet happened. His legal team is now pushing to get the case dismissed based on this major discrepancy, arguing that the prosecution knowingly or recklessly misled the grand jury with manipulated evidence. This development raises serious questions about the integrity of the prosecution's case and could have a major impact on how this legal battle plays out moving forward. Host, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into some major developments in Lil Durk's legal case, and honestly, this could be a serious turning point. His legal team just dropped a motion that's making a pretty strong argument for why the superseding indictment against him should be thrown out. Let's break it down. The core of the argument: Lil Durk's legal team is arguing that the grand jury indictment was based on a fundamental factual error, specifically a piece of altered audio evidence that wasn't part of the original track. They say this misrepresentation of the song constitutes a major legal issue, and under the law, it could be grounds for dismissal of the indictment. They make their case based on two possible scenarios. The government knowingly presented false evidence. Even if the government didn't know it was false, the falsehood was so significant that it still demands the indictment be dismissed. And, honestly, they've got a strong point. If the only new piece of evidence added in the superseding indictment was this altered song, and it turns out the song was edited with fan-made audio not present in the original, then that's a major error by the government. Lil Durk's legal team isn't playing. They emphasize that Lil Durk doesn't take this request lightly. They admit that dismissing an indictment is rare and usually disfavored, but argue this is one of those exceptional cases. The grand jury is supposed to function independently, free from bias, and protect citizens from false accusations. When that process is compromised, like in this case, they argue that court intervention is absolutely necessary. Grand jury integrity at risk? The filing outlines that the government has a duty to ensure truthful evidence is presented to the grand jury. If prosecutors knew, or should have known, that this was false, then it undermines the entire indictment. They even highlight that the only two pieces of evidence used to directly link Lil Durk to the homicide were a text message about booking flights and these disputed lyrics. That's it. So if one of those two is false, that's half the case. Gone. Backed by industry pros, Lil Durk's team didn't stop at arguments. They brought receipts. Exhibit 1, a declaration from Justin Gibson, a professional sound engineer, who says he worked with Lil Durk on the track Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy back in January 2022, 7 months before the murder of Lil Pab. He even included timestamps and studio session files proving the date the song was recorded. Exhibit 2, another declaration from Ahmad Sharif, CEO of Your World Music and a producer on the song. He confirmed that no changes were made to Durk's verse after July 2022, and that the viral audio with someone yelling, "No," was a fan edit completely, fabricated and not part of the original track. He declared all this under penalty of perjury, so now you've got not one but two key music professionals saying the track is being misrepresented, and the government used that altered version to build a case. Lil Durk wants bond. There's also another filing where Lil Durk is asking the court to reconsider his detention. He's offering $900K in real estate equity, $1 million in cash. Additional third-party sureties, he's even willing to accept conditions, like home detention and 24/7 surveillance, whatever the court needs. Now the big question, will the court go for it? That's hard to say, especially since there's speculation that Lil Durk was trying to flee the country when arrested. But if the indictment really is based on false evidence, that could shift things in his favor. Final thoughts, I gotta say. Durk's legal team is putting together a very solid case. They're calling out the government on what could be a major mistake, and they've got credible professionals backing their claims. Will this get the indictment dismissed? Only time will tell. But if everything they're saying is true, then yeah. This indictment is on shaky ground. Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. Is this enough to get Durk off the hook, or is it just a legal Hail Mary? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, peace out.